Okay, now just jumping around a bit, James, we had a few unsavoury incidents on the cricket field in Australia this summer, and there was an issue of an umpiring decision, but a lot of stuff then flowed from that. Is there a will in cricket to re-strengthen your position as almost at the pinnacle? The cricket has a relationship of being the most respectful of officials, for example, and the most respectful of umpires and the most rigidly enforced etiquette. Is there a will amongst the cricket nations to reinforce that at the top level?
I think there's I guess enshrined in the laws of the game, there's a basic principle that players will not only play within the laws of the game but also within the spirit of the game, and the laws make that quite clear, that there's a high expectation on players. I mean, some might suggest that in this day and age of professionalism that might be a little bit ambitious, to expect people to always adhere to the spirit of the game when there's so much at stake. But we believe, and all of our research tells us, that the public really wants to see that in our sportsmen and in our athletes, and indeed off the back of this summer we've had recent research that really does reinforce the fact that the Australian public looks up to the Australian cricket team. They haven't lagged as a result of last summer, and they really are Australia's favourite sporting team in the way they go about, the brand they play, but also the way they represent our country. Okay,
now very recently Wendell Sada indicated he's going to move back to rugby league, and he's served out a 2-year ban from rugby for drug abuse. Does rugby league have to respect a ban put on a player by rugby union? If someone goes in a rugby union and does the wrong thing, how do you guys agree to acknowledge each other's embargoes, if you like?
It's part of the wider arrangement, so we all recognise each other's suspensions. We still operate within our own tribunal system largely, so suspensions are handed out by the particular sport, but we're obliged to observe those suspensions. Wendell's done his time. He's certainly spent some time promoting the message that kids shouldn't make the mistakes that he's made. To that extent, I give him credit, and I wish him good luck at the Dragons.
Okay. I want to move on to broadcast now, which is obviously a big part of the game. This is a dangerous open question, but with digital TV and with HD and with people having to watch long periods of things on internet which they couldn't watch before, are people trying to extract other broadcast products, other revenue streams from screening stuff that doesn't go onto Channel 9 or Foxtel that might be put on the web instead? Has the AFL got any ideas about?
It's a very tricky issue. I'm assuming you're talking about fair dealing, really, which is basically working out around what actually within the Broadcasting Act, what we own the copyright in our footage, but for the reporting of news, effectively, other agencies can grab that footage and show highlights of it. So what is fair dealing is not really defined, and certainly not defined by platform. So without overcomplicating it, we really are always in discussions with other companies about whether they're using too much of our footage on their online platforms or on other channels. And I guess we've got, I believe, the best broadcast media partnership in the land. We're really proud of our partners, and we're partners with most of the major media organisations in the country. So we can continue to work with them to do that, because one partner's rights on a certain platform are then potentially open for abuse on another platform by another partner. And what we do is we respect the strategic value for those partners, and we want to continue to engage to actually self-regulate if we can, because it's not defined at the moment, but it really is one of the issues in sports broadcasting. It's not just here, it's globally, and what we want to do is continue to work with our partners to self-regulate if we can, and actually define what that is, because the more the new media environment becomes mainstream, and we talk about the government's plans for a broadband rollout in 2013, all those stuff, this issue is only going to get bigger, and in sports broadcasting it is really the issue.
Okay, I've got a couple of minutes more and I'm going to wind up very shortly, but Ben, if I go to the UK and even here, I can get Man U TV or Chelsea TV or all these dedicated TV stations or channels, or they're half channels really, that focus on a particular team. If you're an absolute nutcase for a particular team, should people be able to buy extra stuff, special things they can't see anywhere else? And is that part of the model here? Because the Brits seem to do it quite well. Are we going to do that here with FFA?
Well, I think you'll see it emerge across most of the sports, where the the sporting organisations themselves, depending on sort of financial resources they have, will get deeper and deeper into producing their own content, particularly for the web. That model suits some and not others. But fans want to, a lot of fans want to have a very deep experience with the interactive media that they use, and whether it's behind the scenes coaches' comments, or this week's selections, or particular player interviews that you can't access in a more broader media format, then I think you'll see that emerge more and more. And I know there's a lot of clubs now who are starting to evolve some of that thinking, but fundamentally the challenge is that sporting clubs and sporting organisations aren't media organisations. It takes a lot of money, a lot of investment, skill and know-how to set those sort of things up. So, I think there'll be some that will flirt with it, but to what degree it actually evolves to that level, I think time will tell.
All right, gents, I'm going to wind up now because it's sort of an hour and these guys have been extremely generous with their time and their comments and their honesty. So please thank our guests today for their contribution. And it's back to the studio with Luke and David.
Thank you, Andrew. Andrew Coorey there at the Tattersalls Club in Sydney with the big men of Australian sport. Of course, I'm talking about David Gallop, John O'Neill, James Sutherland, Gillan McLaughlin standing in for Andrew Demetriou, and Ben Buckley from the FFA. It was a terrific insight, really, in just the minds of the people that run these sports in our country and exactly what they're dealing with in the current issues and what they're looking forward to.
Feels like the heads of the five families getting together to carve up Australian sport. But the war metaphor is an interesting one, because we heard, I think, Ben Buckley talk about the battle for the hearts and mind of the Australian sporting public, and it is that. It surely is a war between those. But it's the way they have conduct their relationships, as far as the strategic partnerships with media, the relationships with government. Expansion is very big amongst all the codes. But some very interesting stuff.
The bottom line is it's a business, and they're working out how to maximise profits and make sure their company continues to be successful in the years ahead.
Yep.
Well, that's all we've got time for at the moment on the long lunch. We're going to take a quick break and be back with all the big headlines after this.
Cheers, son.